time of faith.
Technological progress brought humanity many benefits. That is indisputable. On one hand, that is good. On the other hand, it made people less sensitive, less human, more indifferent. Institutions followed the same path and grew colder, even if more efficient. But this problem did not escape the attention of the young English psychologist Tom Crabtree. He was always willing to understand when people needed someone to share their pain. He also understood that speaking is not always the best solution. He says that soon after he began his professional career at a counseling clinic for children in the northwest of England, a certain adolescent came to see him. Tom went to the reception and noticed the boy pacing back and forth, restless and frightened. He led him into his office and pointed to the chair across the desk. It was the end of autumn. The tree outside the window had no leaves. "Sit down," he told the young man. David wore a black waterproof coat buttoned up to his neck. His face was pale. He twisted his hands nervously and stared at his feet. His father had died when he was a baby. He had been raised by his mother and his grandfather. But the year before, when David was 13 years old, his grandfather died and his mother was killed in a car accident. Now, at 14 years old, he was in treatment. The headmaster had referred him with a note. "This boy is very sad and depressed," which is quite understandable. "However, he refuses to speak to anyone. I am very worried. Can you help?" The young psychologist looked at the boy. How could he help? There are human tragedies for which psychology has no answers, for which there are no words. Sometimes, he thought, listening with full attention and feeling is the most appropriate thing. During the first 2 visits, David did not speak. Slumped in the chair, he only lifted his eyes to stare at the childish drawings that decorated the wall. When David left the office after the second session, Tom put his hand on the boy's shoulder. The boy stopped. He did not pull away, but he still did not look at the psychologist. "Come next week if you want," Tom said. He paused and added, "I know this is painful." David came back, and Tom suggested they play chess. The boy nodded. The chess games continued every Wednesday afternoon in total silence and without the boy making eye contact. Although it is not easy to cheat at chess, Tom did what he could so that David would win once or twice. The boy arrived early, found the board and the pieces on the shelf, and began to set them up before Tom even sat down. He seemed to like the ritual. But why does he never look at me? Tom wondered. Maybe he simply needs someone to share his pain. Maybe he senses that I respect his pain, he concluded. One afternoon, when winter was giving way to spring, David took off his coat and hung it over the back of the chair. As he arranged the pieces, his face looked livelier, his movements more animated. A few months later, when blossoms already covered the tree outside, Tom watched David lean over the board. He thought how little is known about therapy, about the mysterious processes of healing. Suddenly, the boy raised his eyes and said, "Your move." After that, David began to speak. He made friends at school and joined the cycling club. One day, a postcard arrived from David that said, "I am riding my bicycle with friends and having a lot of fun." Sometime later, Tom received a letter in which David wrote that he planned to go to the university. Tom had offered something to David, but he certainly learned how time can make it possible to overcome what once seemed painfully insurmountable. He also learned how to be present when someone needs him, and that you can reach another human being without words. All it takes is an embrace, a gentle touch, a listening ear, a compassionate heart.